your
With
xQ
more than
Karen picture up as an
42,000
example
restaurants
haircuts
in
you
over
can
100
get.
countries, Subway has the most locations of any fast food chain on the planet. And at first that sounds like a sign of a thriving subgiant.
Hey
However, Subway is
xQc,
anything but.
you should play
Subway's closed
Ghostwire
thousands of
Tokyo.
stores in the last
It
3
has a
years,
cool story.
and saw a 25% fall in business from 2012 to 2017.
That's not bad.
So what happened?
Competition. Okay.
The chain began as Pete's Super Submarines in Bridgeport, Connecticut in 1965. 3 years later, co-founders Fred DeLuca and Peter Buck rebranded it to simply Subway.
Subway's famous
This it looks insane of a sandwich. I'm doing it.
What was so compelling then, and still is today about Subway, is really an open kitchen format. In many ways, they really pioneered that, and the ability to customize your sandwich.
The brand redefined fast food with fresh ingredients that customers could see. Compared to other fast food chains at the time, it felt healthy. And it worked. By 1981, there were 200 locations across the U.S., and soon after, Subway went international.
In the late 70s and in the 80s and in the 90s, everyone knew about Subway. I mean, they were everywhere. They're still everywhere.
That's Joel Labava, an expert in franchising.
Got
Each
it.
store
Ooh,
looks
this is gonna be a good
and smells
chance.
the
This is gonna be
same.
bussin'.
They're all independently owned franchises.
The format is pretty simple. You buy a franchise, you get trained, they help you secure a location, they help with a grand opening, and you're open. You're open for business. Follow the several hundred-page operating manual, do the advertising, and customers will come in.
Not only were Subway
Boy, how
franchises
many?
successful, they were, and still are, one of the cheapest chains to franchise. It costs between $116,000 and $263,000 to open a Subway franchise. Compare that to opening a McDonald's, which costs
2.2 mil, yeah. Canadian dollars, like 2.5 mil.
Because Subways were easy to open, the number of stores skyrocketed. Between 1990 and 1998, store locations rose from 5,000 to 13,200. And in that same period of time, gross sales rose by about $2.1 billion. Subway's success continued
That's
into the
pretty
early
sick.
2000s. At a time when obesity was rising rapidly in
Only it's
America,
only 100,000
Subway
compared to other
continued to market
franchises.
itself as a healthy alternative to fast food.
One of their biggest successes for sure was the Jared Fogle story. Everyone remembers those ads where it's him in those huge pants where he's showing how he lost all of this weight. And that just made them so much money, and it really made people think about Subway as a really great health brand. It was one of the biggest advertising wins that any chain's had in recent decades. So that was a huge, huge part of their brand.
Subway carried Fogle's success story for nearly a decade.
Jared, you
But by
fucking
2008,
moron.
The world was suffering from the effects of the Great Recession, and for many Americans, hunting for deals replaced the obsession with weight loss. So Subway changed up its message. In March 2008, it introduced a new promotion that would come to define the chain.
Oh, I remember that.
By August 2009, as other restaurant chains were struggling through the recession, the $5 footlong had pulled in $3.8 billion in sales for Subway.
Well, that's fucking busted.
A 17% jump in U.S. sales from the year before. But even the best deals run their course.
Ha, $11.
Starting in 2014, Subway sales began steadily dropping. Behind the scenes, many of the reasons for Subway's success had turned on them. Quiznos was once Subway's main competition.
Guys, I'm gonna be honest, chat. I know what I wasn't in America, but in Canada and where I live, Quebec, the Quiznos subs was insanely better. It was not even close of a margin. They was bussin'. It was bussin'. I love Quiznos subs. Guys, they opened up a location next to my house, and I would never go outside, but I would still go outside for a sub. I would walk there.
Tons of sub chains like Jimmy John's, Firehouse, Potbelly, and Jersey Mike's, and fast casual chains like Panera were offering seemingly fresher and healthier options. And they started stealing market share.
They're competing against people who bring in fresh produce every day. A lot of Subway locations only bring in fresh produce.
Guys, did you guys add the Quiznos sub? It was like a cold cut thing, but then it had this really bussin' sauce, like chipotle sauce. It's a really nice sauce. You guys remember that or not?
Produce once or twice a week.
On top of that, fast food chains that had been around as
That
long
was
as Subway
insane.
were coming up with healthy alternatives of their own and getting creative with new menus.
More and more fast food chains really want to have that innovation pipeline where they're bringing something out new almost every month. Fast food places are looking for ways to bring in new customers, drive traffic, and Subway has not tried to do that in the same way other places have.
But other fast food chains weren't the only competition for Subway franchises.
That is disgusting.
With
Jesus
Subway's
Christ, kill
franchising
me.
model making it so easy to open locations, stores inevitably started opening up around the corner from each other in lucrative markets. Take downtown Manhattan, for example.
Dude. Chat, when I went to Toronto, they have a pizza and a Subway every 2 blocks, okay? And I fuck with you not, dude. I was in Toronto, okay? Dude, one street, dude, not even long range. You back it like this, There's 2 on the same, I'm not kidding, 2 in 1 block. Dude, that's mental. That's
Opening up
insane,
around the corner
dude.
from each other in lucrative markets. Take downtown
Christ.
Manhattan, for example. Within a 15-minute walk and less than half a
Not
square
only
mile,
in
there are
one
10
spot,
Subway
in
locations.
multiple spots.
These
There's
locations
2
in close
on 1 block.
proximity began cannibalizing each other's sales.
The Subway franchise agreement, the contract, it says.
I can show that in Toronto. I told you.
Anywhere. There is no protected territory.
So bad.
So franchisees really have no say-so in where the other franchisees are going to open. It's a problem.
And Subway Corporate wasn't stopping it, because the company benefited from a high number of locations. More locations meant more franchising fees, and high royalties to Subway Corporate, which diminished the effect of falling sales from a single location.
When franchisees' sales are kind of slipping, as long as they're staying open, it doesn't necessarily hurt Subway as much as it would some other chains. If everyone's kind of like chugging along, like opening new locations, then they can kind of keep on keeping on, and it's not going to be the end of the world for the corporate office.
Franchise owners, on the other hand,
My theory is that Subway became this, like a lot of other fast foods, very location based, right? Which means that sometimes you'll have a good city, they open one, it's ass crack. Then they open another one 2 streets down, and it's insanely bussin', and you want to eat there every day or whatever, right? But then it kind of like started diluting, and it's getting less and less, and now it's like, it's hard to find a good one, dude. But sometimes when you do find a good one, dude, it's kind of hard not to order there. It's kind of bussin'.
took the hit. In 2012, each Subway franchise generated an average of $482,000 a year. 4 years later, that number had slipped to $422,000 a year. For comparison, the average annual revenue of a McDonald's franchise in 2016 was $2.6 million. And to make matters worse,
Wait, chat, guys, if I bought a McDonald's, if I paid 2.2 mil in franchising, and let's say what, like 2 mil for the location, right? Plus salary, plus whatever the fuck, plus in 3 years, you're going in pure profits, and then you're making like what, like a mil a year, just because you have a McDonald's.
and to make matters worse, Subway would lose the face of its company. In 2015, the man who had embodied Subway's Eat Fresh mission was charged with possession of child pornography and having sex with minors. Subway cut ties with Vogel, and he was sentenced to 15 and a half years in federal prison.
That's it.
Jared Fogle thing kind of basically
How?
went from a huge positive to a huge liability. Like the worst things possible that your brand could be associated with.
How
All
was it
of
only
these
15
things
years?
created the perfect storm for Subway, and soon locations started to close. In 2016, Subway closed 359 stores in the US. It was the first year the chain closed more locations than it opened. In 2017, that number was over 800, and by the end of 2018, over 1,000 locations had closed. With all these sour ingredients, it's hard to imagine Subway could bounce back. But the chain is certainly trying. In 2017, Subway launched its Fresh Forward program, starting with remodeled stores. The revamped location
These look like shit. I'm sorry, this is just not it. Guys, lime green doesn't say, oh, I'm gonna get a good lunch. It just doesn't.
featured new menu boards, Wi-Fi, USB ports, updated furniture, and music.
I will give Subway credit. They're doing something interesting. They're offering grants.
It does not. It does
Franchisee
not look good.
applies and
I don't
everything's
agree.
in line, they can get up to $10,000.
I want a foot long
towards
in my
remodeling.
mouth.
By the end of 2020, over 10,000 locations will have this new restaurant design. But Subway says food is its next priority, and it's backing it up with an $80 million investment in updated menu items. Subway's partnered with the media company Tastemade to develop hundreds of new menu ideas.
Bring back the steak teriyaki, dude. Where is it? Bring it back, dude.
Like the Green Goddess
How
tuna
hard can it be?
and the Southern-style French dip. In 2018, the chain introduced its cheesy garlic bread, its most successful promotion in the last 5 years. And in 2019, a line of ciabatta sandwiches and Halo Top milkshakes hit stores.
Historically, Subway would evaluate about 6 or 7 new menu items per month.
Wait, they're not the sweet onion anymore? No, they do. Shut up.
But we've set up a process and invested in capabilities where we're literally testing at least 100 new menu items every month.
As for whether or not all these menu items and revamped designs will stop shuttering stores and dropping business, only time will tell.
They need to figure out who they want their customer to be. I think it's really an uphill battle for them, but if they kind of go back to the basics, think about what people want, ask people what they want, and think about a little bit more innovation, that's kind of going to be a good start for them.
I disagree. I disagree. My five-headed business philosophy. Fuck the customer. The customer doesn't know what they want. Okay, think ahead. What do you want? What do you want to do? Okay, fuck. The customer is a moron. The customer is a fucking moron. They do not know what they want. Okay, give them something cool, and they'll enjoy it. What about it?